Pokemon 151 got a reprint at Sam's Club, and card prices are starting to go down. I'm Rehan from Twin Leaf TCG, and here are some cards from 151 that I think are great pickups in the month of October. Starting off with everybody's favorite, the Pikachu from 151. I recommended this card in an older video when it was going for about $45. It hit a peak of about $53, and now it's going for sub $40. The PSA 10 graph shows that it was going for about $153 in early August, and now it's sitting around almost that $400 range. The next cards on our list is the entire Bulbasaur Evolution line. A quick rapid fire through the Evolution line shows that you could have picked up the Bulbasaur at about $30, went up all the way to about $55, and now it's sitting around that $45 mark. In early August, the PSA 10 was going for about $145, and it went up to about almost $280, and now it's sitting around that $260 mark. The Ivysaur has a very similar graph with a minimum of about $23, going all the way up to about $36, and now it's sitting around that $31 mark. With the 10s going from about $145, peaking to about $260, now it's sitting around that $200 range. The big boy Venusaur SIR was as cheap as $52, and now it's hitting a peak at about $90. I honestly don't think it'll get cheaper than this. The PSA 10 graph shows that it was going for about $250 in early August, peaked at about $430, and now it's sitting around that $400 range. You could pick up the entire Evolution line for about $162. Next up is the fan favorite Charmander Evolution line. Very popular Evolution line means very volatile graph, with a peak of about $70 for the Charmander, and now it's sitting around that $52 mark. The Charmander in a PSA 10 hit about almost $420, now it's sitting around that $370 mark. The Charmeleon has only been fluctuating from $30 to about $50, and now it's sitting at the $37 range. The Charmeleon was going for about $180, went up to about $350, and now it's sitting around that $300 mark. The Charizard SIR was as cheap as $180, and somewhere up here, it had actually a sale of about $350, and now it's tanked to about $270. The 10 graph shows steady growth without it slowing down anytime soon, and it was going for about $730 in early August, hit a peak of about 1.4K, now it's sitting about 1.2K. The entire Evolution line will cost you about $360, but don't forget, the Charizard SIR alone had sales for about $350. The last Evolution line, of course, is the Squirtle Evolution line. The Squirtle remains around that $50 range, with a high of about $55, now it's going for about $52. The Squirtle in a 10 was going for $190, hit a peak of about $340, and now it's sitting around that $300 range. The Wartortle is now sitting in between the peak of about $40 and the minimum of about $23, sitting at about $31 right now. With the 10 going for about $300 and a peak, and now it's sitting around that $250 range. The Blastoise and Venusaur were very similar, as he had a low of about $60, he approached almost $100, but then he dipped, unlike the Venusaur, going for about $81 now. And the 10 graph shows that in early August it was going for about $270, hit a peak of almost $500, and now it's sitting around that $430 range. You can pick up the whole set going for about $165. I was going to include the Mew and Mewtwo promo, but they're not necessarily part of 151, so maybe in another video. Let me know what you guys thought about the video in the comments below.